Let me tell you something. If you ever want to know what it feels like to have your whole life flipped upside down before you even finish your first cup of coffee, just by a ranch next to an HOA queen with a chip on her shoulder and a taste for drama seriously, the very first words I heard that morning as I rolled up in my old F-150 after half a year away were, "Get off this property or I'm calling the cops, you filthy rancher." That was Brenda Martinez for HOA President Neighborhood Menace, and honestly, the kind of woman who probably has 911 saved as her favorite contact. She was standing at my gate with her blonde bob gleaming in the sun and her red suit brighter than my barn, already recording me, already itching to blow things up. I just took a long sip of coffee and tried not to laugh because I'd owned this land longer than she'd been coloring her hair, and somehow I was a trespasser. Yeah, that happened now. Let me back up a sec. Because if you've never dealt with a power hungry HOA, you don't know what it's like to have your life picked apart over the sound of rooster or the color of your barn. Brenda was a pro at it. She made 12 families miserable enough to leave before she set her sights on me. I guess number 13 had a little more fight in him. She ran down a whole list of violations: grass too tall by half an inch, rooster crowing too loud, my truck parked too ruggedly. And honestly, it would have been funny if she wasn't so dead serious. I just played along, scratching my head and acting confused, let her dig her own grave. You know how some people just need an audience. Brenda thrived on it. She called 911 right in front of everybody, put the dispatcher on speaker, and started spinning some story about a dangerous man refusing to leave HOA property. Neighbors started gathering phones out, the whole circus rolling. And I thought, well, here we go. The internet's about to have a field day, sure. Enough within the hour. Videos of Karen calls cops on ranch owner were blowing up online. My phone buzzed with text. The comments came flying. Poor Jake, justice for Jake. And of course, people debating if this was even real. The cops showed up, 2 young officers who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else, and Brenda launched into a performance worthy of Broadway, shoving fake documents in their faces and insisting she bought my land fair and square. She even had a signature that was supposed to be mine, but looked like a kid scribbled it during recess. I kept it simple, real innocent, asking, "Is something wrong here, officers?" Brenda took that as her cue to announce to the whole neighborhood how she removed a dozen troublemakers before me, how I was next, and how people like me were a stain on Willowbrook. You know what I mean, that kind of venom just sour the air. But here's the thing, sometimes life hands you allies you don't expect. As Brenda was busy holding court, I caught a wink from my groundskeeper Mike, who was watering plants with the calm of a man who'd seen it all. The cops, not wanting to make a scene, told Brenda to take it up legally. She about lost her mind, hissing something about me not being able to read legal documents. I let her have her little victory, but I knew things were just getting started inside. I paused by an old photo of me and my wife back when we still thought moving out here would be a dream, not a nightmare. 2017, another HOA, another president who took everything from me. That hurt never really goes away, you know. Then, just as I sat down to regroup, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Jake Morrison, we know you're back. Castellano sends his regards." That name, Vincent Castellano, hit me like a punch. He's a guy who broke me years ago, and suddenly I realized Brenda wasn't just a bully. She was a pawn in something much bigger. I logged into a private system, an HOA tracking network with dots scattered all over a map, and there was Willowbrook Estates glowing red right in the middle of my screen. Things were about to get ugly. The next day, Brenda really let loose at sunrise. I woke to the sound of heavy machinery and looked out to see a bulldozer tearing through my vegetable garden. She was live streaming the whole thing, waving a fake violation code in the air like she was on the price. Is right, my mother's tomatoes, 40 years old, gone in minutes. I ran out yelling, begging her to stop. But Brenda just smiled that icy smile and said, "Your mother should have read the HOA guidelines." Her followers, who'd been eating up her act, suddenly turned comments, exploded, people calling it illegal, asking who could do that to someone for the first time since I got back. I let the pain show. Mike knelt down next to me real quiet and said, "Jake, your mom will be heartbroken. That hurt more than losing the garden, just like 2017. They take everything." But the day wasn't over. By lunch, Brenda had called a press conference at my gate, waving around a forged environmental report and demanding $75,000 for cleanup. I just stood in the background, acting like a man who'd lost it all. Neighbors started drifting my way. Mrs. Henderson even brought me a sandwich, quietly telling me this wasn't right. Mike, meanwhile, was snapping photos of all Brenda's fake documents that night. As I sat on my porch, lost in memories, I got 47 missed calls and almost 100 violation notices. Even though I was putting on an act, I'll be honest, some of that despair was real. Mrs. Henderson sat beside me, told me not to let them win, not again. She didn't know my story, but she could see the fight in my eyes. Was flickering. Day 2 was the fireworks. Show at 5 in the morning. Brenda showed up with a convoy truck, security guards, banner streaming justice for Willowbrook live stream, already clocking tens of thousands of viewers. She shoved a stack of forged papers at me, demanded I sign or get dragged out in front of the internet. I let my hand shake, fumbled the pen, stammered about needing to understand what I was signing. Right then she slipped up, started bragging about everything he had predicted, catching herself too late, her confidence cracking as her live stream chat blew up. Mic appeared, whispered, "Boss." She just outed herself in front of 78,000 people. Then things spun out. Police rolled up, almost arrested me. But just as the cuffs were about to snap closed, the officer's phone rang, FBI on the line. Everything changed in a heartbeat. Suddenly, black SUVs rolled and agents in suits stepped out. Brenda looked ready to faint as Agent Hayes called me boss and apologized for the delay. I stood tall, dropped my farmer act, and announced to the cameras, "My name is Jake Morrison, and I run United HOA Solutions. We oversee every HOA in America." You could hear the collective gasp as Brenda's world crashed down. I explained every crime, every forgery, every act of cruelty was recorded. Her reign was over. Mike ripped off his gardener's vest, flashed his FBI badge, and grinned at Brenda. "You should check your greenhouse for bugs, ma'am," he said. Brenda dropped to her knees as agents cuffed her, babbling about Castellano and threats, and how this wasn't fair as she was led away. I picked up her precious #1 president sticker and tore in half her all. To see the neighbors clap, the crowd online, and in person couldn't believe it. I finally felt like maybe, just maybe, justice meant something again. But before I could celebrate, my phone buzzed with another message. "This isn't over, we're just getting started." I looked up at the sunrise, knowing there's always another battle coming. So what do you think our HOA's keeping? Communities safe, or have they gone too far? Would you stand your ground, or is it better to just cut your losses and walk away? Let's hear it in the comment below, because everyone's got a story when it comes to neighborhood drama, and I'd love to know where you